of the two at home. Tough losses to Florida State and Georgia Tech, but they're in a good spot.
Hallie Schroeder starts on serve for Boston College, the freshman who's played a ton. That ball is out to begin, and a 1-0 start for Boston College. And Randy Smart's like, do I challenge the first point? I guess not.
Maybe hold off. Yeah, it looked like that set pushed Agogar a little bit wide of the antenna, and she actually didn't make contact with the pin, but just went around the outside of it.
Schroeder into the net, the first year from Frisco, Texas, who comes from Drive Nation, one of the top clubs in the country. And it sends Kylie Adams back to serve for Wake. This has really been the change for Wake Forest, who had pretty consistently been one setter the early part of the season. But Adams now is kind of splitting time up front in terms of that setting role, and it's really created a different dynamic for Wake Forest. Point there goes to BC.
Yeah, last year even Kylie Adams was the primary setter for a lot of the season, so she's an experienced veteran out there on the floor. By and large, though, this is a very young Wake Forest team. We talked about the success Baker has had, and I think just allowing her to see the floor a little bit from the bench in half the rotation has just allowed her to slow the game down a little bit.
So 2 errors on the serve for Boston College in the early going, and it's 2-2, and Ava Carney, first year from Pittsburgh, on to serve for Wake. Top 60 recruit, according to Prep Volleyball, coming into Wake Forest this season, and that is into the net.
Yeah, serving always a vital part, and obviously both teams off to a little bit of a slow start. Wake Forest, a very good defensive team. They've got Emma Farrell, obviously, who's coming off that ACC Rookie of the Year campaign, one of the best liberos in the league, but you've also got 2 other great veteran passers back there in Ava Torrance and Kalani Willock, who we'll see throughout this one. So they're very good in the serve receive.
Sophie Lambros on serve, and Wake went into the net. Kylie Adams there reaching too far. So 4-2 for Boston College in this first set. And it's Lambros on serve, 22 aces so far this year. As we told you, that is 4th most in the ACC. Adams set up for Crawford, first opportunity. Got a piece of the block for BC. Here's Audrey Ross getting the start on the left side today. And that is long, so point to Wake.
Yeah, Ross looked like she tried to slow that one down a little bit too much. Almost tried to aim the ball for the corner. And even though you want to be accurate, when you try to aim, more often than not, you miss.
Emmy Ogoger, the 5th-year middle blocker from San Antonio. Here's Kat Jensen's first swing. That's tipped at a point to BC. Jensen, the Eagles' leader, with 143 kills now on the season, averaging just under 2.7 per set.
Really like the way she started off on that ACC road trip as well. One of her best games of her career against Louisville, was dominant in that one, kept the Eagles in it. She's off to a good start in her final season.
Eagles read that well through the middle. Here's Jensen. That's tipped again. And back-to-back points for Kat Jensen to give Boston College a 6-3 start here in the first.
And she's really made that right side spot with Sophia Lambros her own. Always been a very aggressive hitter. Just starting to get more and more comfortable on that right side slot.
That was a little bit too far. Schroeder went over top to make it, but it's still alive, so Wake ends up getting the point out of it. Paige Crawford on the left side.
Yeah, that's maybe a learning lesson for the freshman Schroeder here. If she lets that ball go, I think it stays on Wake Forest's side and it kills the point. Instead, she tries to drop it down and put it away. Great defensive play by Farrell, who is going to make a ton of those, and Crawford drills it through the block.
Ava Torrance is long on the serve, the grad student coming in from Purdue this year. So 7-4 Boston College, and here is Cornelia Roach, who's gotten more playing time over the last few weeks due to Grace Milliken missing some time here for BC, and Roach has really taken the opportunity and earned some more playing time the way she's played.
Yeah, absolutely, and playing that opposite middle spot alongside Haggerty, chipping in from the service line as well. Just not trying to do too much, and I think that's really what this coaching staff has asked of her. Come in, play your role, put away the high percentage swings, and that's what she's done.
To To the back line, and Farrell, a little miss hit off the serve, and that's 2 in a row for Roach.
No aces all year. All of a sudden you get an opportunity at the line, and Wake Forest not ready for it.
Well, Boston College returning home after a 4-game road trip to start ACC play, and what a start it has been. 9-4 Eagles in the first set. 2 of those points from Kat Jensen. Their first 2 aces of the season here for Boston College.
Yeah, earlier in the rotation, the middles usually get a little bit of an opportunity to serve for BC. And again, Roach not trying to do too much, right? Just hit that flat float serve, let the ball do the work. And it shakes up Emma Farrell there, who's obviously very good on serve receive. And Roach allowing BC to take a little bit of an early cushion here.
It is worth noting that Wake Forest does give up the most aces per set of any team in the ACC at 1.7 per. Here is Crawford, did not get that over. Jensen and Haggerty, and it's 10-4 Boston College.
And again, Eric, it's not an ace, right? It's not going to go in the book as an ace, but Wake totally thrown out of system. Tough bump set for Crawford, has no choice but to go right into the block.
So Cornelia Roach once again kind of in this role of stepping up big in this playing time she's gotten of late. That's a good job by the block getting over for Boston College, giving them a chance at this point, but Schroeder missed high. So point back to Wake.
Looking for those high hands, just unable to find them. And Roach chipping in with a little bit of defense there.
The Eagles' first couple of kills had been off of tips from Jensen. Well, that time didn't get it from Schroeder. Brian Baker subs into the game for the first time for Wake Forest on rotation. There's Haggerty, little nifty sidearm kill to make it 11-5.
It's what they call the chicken wing. You just get that hand right up about the side of your face, and you kind of fumble it through the block. Again, it's the set that makes it work there, right? Haggerty's fading off from that middle of the net, and the blocker just sort of loses track of her, so Haggerty's got an easy lane to swing through.
Haggerty hitting .362 so far this year. Wake again a little bit out of sorts off the serve. Here's Hoppus' first opportunity. Wake does manage to keep it alive. Grace Penn sets up Schroeder, no doubt.
Beautiful ball in transition by Boston College. Wake, again, just scrambling around, trying to keep the rally alive. A couple nice touches here just to extend things, but love the fake by Haggerty in transition. The block is late on Schroeder, and she's got plenty of room to drill it.
Another big-time serve for Boston College. Audrey Ross right in front of Grace Penn. It's one of those sequences right now where you just, if you're Boston College, you have to feel like you have to go for the kill right now because Wake's just a little bit out of sorts, and you figure that's not going to last all evening.
Certainly not, but the aggressive serving has had a lot to do with it.
Maybe that's it on that point right there. Ava Carney, the first year from Pittsburgh, coming off a season-high 19 kills and 7 blocks against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Wake Forest puts so much emphasis on their first couple of touches, and they have been getting quality first touches for the majority of this first set, so they have to take advantage when they get a good one. Carney does so there.
So Wake will try to build some momentum back here. Emma Farrell, the libero to serve. There's Haggerty again through the middle. Crawford with the dig in the back line. Carney, perfect shot to that back corner. So back-to-back points for Carney to bring Wake within 13-7.
This is really what's so impressive about this Demon Deacons team. Both Crawford and Carney just so physical in the outside. Great elevation. She's just going over the top of the block. And that's a great set by Baker, too, to really push that ball out there.
Penn with a back set for Schroeder, and that missed long.
Not a bad idea. Pretty decent set. And, one of Schroeder's best assets is that she's relatively low error, but maybe just kind of searching out the high hands of the block right now and not finding them.
Hitting .204 this year coming in. Penn had a perfect set for Haggerty. Jason Kennedy's talked a lot about Grace Penn's ability to set the middle, and you saw a great example of it right there.
Yeah, how about this decision, too, by Haggerty? elects to turn it into the short court and flattens it.
3 assists so far for Grace Penn. She needed 12 tonight to get to 2,000 in her career. That's a point for Wake Forest, 14-9.
Only the second time that they've set the middle so far. First one missed out. Gogar able to convert on that one.
Kylie Adams now to serve for Wake. Here is Ross. That was well blocked by Wake Forest. Olivia Fish in there along with Emmy Ogogar.
First block tonight for Wake. Fish, another impressive freshman for this Wake Forest team, making her presence felt.
That skips off the net well. And Wake Forest climbing their way back into this first set. And in fact, too close for Jason Kennedy, who will use a timeout.
Yeah, certainly not about, that last point. Obviously, that's just a tough bounce off the net that goes against the Eagles. But, it's about Boston College running their offense, hitting just 154, 4 errors, which is maybe a little bit more than their head coach would like to see. But they have definitely won the battle at the service line, at least to this point in the set. Now, obviously, momentum can very easily swing back the other way, and that's what Wake Forest is looking for right now.
One thing that Randy Smart talked to us about, and we've seen it a little bit, right, even with Wake Forest, just hitting 100 right now. Neither team's hit great. She said, really, the X factor has kind of been those non-statted things. Our block being in good position, not even necessarily getting a true block statistically, but the block being in a good spot. The way that the defensive specialists and the liberos have dug the ball for Wake. It's all those little things, and we've seen that a little bit on display here as Wake has come back into this first set.
Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily about the statted block, but, again, a couple of times they forced Schroeder to hit long. That's the block being in good position and then maybe pulling the hands away so that they don't get those little deflections where Schroeder is looking to deflect it up and out of play. Those are the types of things that, a young team will kind of go through spells up and down, and that's been the case at times this year for Wake Forest. But the Demon Deacons right now, they're showing that fight that they've already put on display a few times this year.
Good start for Grace Penn tonight, 3 assists and an ace, and you can see creeping ever closer to 2,000 in her Boston College career for the senior who has the right answer on the superpower. We've been over this. It's just not correct if it's not teleportation.
If you can avoid all forms of transportation, you're good.
It encompasses all. That would be my take. Here is Penn. Is it set number 4? Looking for Hoppus in the back. Wake plays it out. There's Fish. Well dug by Anna Murphy, the Eagles libero. Schroeder from the back line. That's an excellent dig again, just like we're talking about from Wake Forest. Hoppus, another try, and the lefty has it off the block and out.
Great effort there. Crawford just so good on both ends.
Anna Murphy to serve. Adams through the middle. Roach was there in position, but enough strength on the shot through the middle to get the point for Wake.
Just muscled it off the net. Hoppus already down, was committed. Couldn't pop it back into play.
Kalani Willock, the junior from Keller, Texas, comes in to serve for Wake. So the service errors right now, that's 3 on Wake Forest, 2 for Boston College so far. Eagles on rotation, Lambros and Jensen back in.
That's why it's a little bit of a double whammy for Willock, right? Not only do you give up a point, but now you put BC's best server at the line.
Willock on the dig and get the back set to Fish. Well dug by Schroeder in the back line. More and more playing time for the likes of Ross and Schroeder for Boston College with plays like that in the back. Crawford gets it over on 3. Lambros sets up Cornelia Roach in the middle. Wake will play it out off the bump set. Fish is blocked, and that just held in on the line.
Well, Cornelia Roach might be quickly blossoming into the MVP of this first set. Look at the block touch there, then pulls it out of the net, and then closes it out on Fish at the end.
Lambros challenging that wide side on the serve. Free play here for Boston College. Up 17-12. Jensen did not get the tip this time.
Pretty good set. Jensen just not quite able to get on top of that ball the way she wants. Might want that set just a little bit closer to the net, especially when she's in a one-on-one matchup. If she's got 2 blockers, then you want to give her a little more room. But if she's one-on-one, you just let her attack it.
Schroeder to the back corner, and it just missed.
Very close. I think it was in on the back, maybe just out on the sideline.
Oh, Gogar on the serve for Wake Forest. Here's Jensen. Well dug again on the back line. It was Willock. Lambros sets up Jensen again. That skipped too high off her hand. And Wake is back within 2 here in the first set.
And you can see Jensen really not happy with that swing. Just a bad contact. But when you're into these now nip and tuck situations, you got to execute on every point.
Roach. Willock again has done a really nice job on this rotation in the back row for Wake Forest. Roach gets another chance. That was deflected. Willock with a bump set for Crawford. It's blocked.
So far, when Boston College's block has had time to get set, they have been in the right spot. And a couple now for Roach. But when Wake Forest is in system and they're able to move a little faster, that's when Cardi and Crawford have really been able to take a foothold.
And on that one, Boston College took advantage of the bump set rather than the setter being able to get something quick off. Jensen trying again. That one was tipped. So 3rd kill for Jensen. And the Eagles get 2 back and extend the lead out to 4. And Randy Smart will use the timeout.
That was going to be, I think, one of the keys to this match going in, Eric, circling back to the Boston College block, because Wake Forest, like a lot of other teams that we're going to see throughout the ACC schedule, big, physical, powerful hitters on both pins, whether it's Fish on the right side or Carney and Crawford on the left side for Wake Forest. And you can go down the list of teams in the ACC that have big, powerful pin hitters. One of Boston College's best assets is its ability to block. Obviously, Julia Haggerty we know about. Cornelia Roach has stepped into a big role and has shown the ability to get laterally side to side and be a factor on the block. And if that continues, Boston College is going to be able to give some of those big, powerful hitters some trouble. I think one of the things that Roach has going for is that she's 6'2", a little bit taller than Grace Milliken, and just has that little bit of additional wingspan. And so, Milliken maybe a little bit of a higher percentage hitter. Roach brings a little bit more to the blocking game, and that's sort of just the mix and match that you'll see with teams sometimes. But she stepped into this role, gotten an opportunity, made the most of it, and right now the Boston College block is having enough success against the pin hitters for Wake Forest that's why the Eagles have this first set lead.
Eagles won their first ACC game of the season against Virginia last weekend on Sunday, wrapping up a 1-3 trip, but you looked at included losses to Louisville and to Pitt, traditionally 2 of the best teams in the ACC, also a 5-set loss at Notre Dame. Wake Forest did 2-2 in the conference. We talked about this with both coaches. Whatever you want to call it, a top 3, a top 4, there's 3 ranked teams right now. Florida State's played extremely well, so maybe they're in that group. Miami pushing as well, but there's a lot of teams, and I guess let's just call it the middle, anywhere from maybe 5 to 11, 5 to 12 in the ACC, that it feels like all kind of have similar thoughts on where they have a chance to be. this season, which is making for a lot of really competitive conference games. Set was behind Jensen, so had to just get it over. Crawford, though, couldn't get everything on it, so the Eagles will get a chance. Schroeder, that was deflected. Adams the back set for Fish, but again the Eagles block is there.
Allie Schroeder coming up big on this one. Again, I think, hasn't been maybe known as much for her blocking in her freshman year, but showing that ability to get up, be in the right spot, seemingly always positionally sound.
Fourth block for Boston College in this first set. Jensen has gotten a lot of tips, certainly been going for that. Block again. Number 5 of this first set.
Again, little extra air under this set. And that allows Roach the time to get over and close the window. Crawford looking for that hard angle swing. Roach making herself big. Good penetration over the net. Is all over it.
See the Eagles' numbers. They've been solid blocking all year long. And, of course, they've done it on this stretch as Wake gets the point back without their leading blocker, Julia Haggerty, all year.
And, that's, I guess, another good indication of what Roach has brought to the table. Haggerty always such an impact that hitters have to think when she's on the floor. Now they're starting to learn about Cornelia Roach as well.
Lambros back set for Jensen. 22-16 Eagles here in the first set.
Really been impressed by the setter's ability, both setters for Boston College in this opening set, whether it's been Penn or Lambros, going towards the left side, but being able to push that ball back to the pin for that right side hitter, whether it's been Jensen or Hoppus. It's a very difficult skill for a setter, and both have done it extremely well.
Roach, who had a really good serving run earlier in her first rotation. There's the slide, and it does not get through the block.
Again, positioning, and Schroeder's in the perfect spot, recognizes that that's going to be a cut ball on the slide from a Gogar, and she is all over it. Haggerty doesn't even have to do anything. Schroeder's already there.
6 first set blocks for Boston College. Crawford was a little behind her, but a miss hit on 2 for BC gives the point to Wake.
Yeah, that's a tough ball for Haggerty. It's coming straight down on top of her. Obviously, she doesn't want to reach into the net and just gets a little too much trying to pull it out. Certainly didn't help that Murphy's not back there as sort of that rescue option with Roach having served that point.
Paige Crawford on the serve. Schroeder had to reach for it and give it right back. Jensen. That time the Wake block is there.
Carney serving it back a little bit here. Also, Dior Charles was arguably the best blocker for the Deeks.
Serve is long. That's the 4th service error for Wake Forest in the first set. And it comes to set point, and the Eagles will make a change on this rotation as Jenna Pollock comes in as the right side along with Penn.
Yeah, this is as much for the block as anything else. Pollock a converted middle, playing more on that right side now, but she's definitely got the blocking ability.
That's a really good play to keep that alive by Baker off the overpass. That skips through, and a point from the back line for Paige Crawford. It looked like that was an overpass and it was going to be set over, but Ryan Baker brought it back, and Wake Forest found a way to win the point. A set where neither team has hit it particularly well. Both teams under 100. Here is Schroeder. That gets through. And Boston College takes set 1. Get some work away from that Eagles block, which was so strong. Olivia Fish will start on this rotation for Wake Forest. And it's Kylie Adams to serve for the Demon Deacons. Penn with a back set. Good block for Wake. Fish leading the way along with Dior Charles, the freshman.
Yeah, just nothing really here for Hoppus. You can see she's looking for that hard angle, but Charles does a good job elevating and getting over the net to take that angle away.
We've seen some different options in that second right side. That one looked like it missed, and it did. Not by much, but a 2-0 start for Wake.
Yeah, we saw Haggerty convert a similar hit earlier, right, turning to the short court. However, on the one in the first set, she was able to get more on top of the ball. This time, she's trying to drive it more to the line and missed it out wide.
So good start for the Deeks. That's into the net, though, so 2-1. The Eagles will go on the serve for the first time.
Flew a little bit under the radar in that first set, but I thought that happened a couple of times at inopportune moments for Wake Forest. You know, just as they were starting to get some momentum in that first set, all of a sudden a missed serve kind of cut their legs out from under them a little bit.
Adams hit the net, so 2-2. I mean, yeah, you look at, when you look at service aces, Boston College, for example, had 2 in that first set, and they were 2 of the first 4 points of the set, so they didn't have one after that. So you talk about, when those come sometimes can be meaningful. Murphy again. The Eagles did a really good job keeping Wake out of rotation off their serve, even on the non-aces. That one did not get over from Fish.
And again, tough serves from Murphy here. They don't go down as aces, but it's forced Wake to play out of system. And as we saw in that first set, when Wake's playing out of system, they've had a hard time getting around or through the BC block. And now on both those hits, it looked like they kind of came up short. So they're starting to think about the block a little bit.
Overpass so the Eagles can play it out. Murphy, a bump set for Ross right down the line. Audrey Ross, the first year out of Danville, California. At 6'3", one of the taller outside hitters on this Eagles roster. Some changes here for Wake. Ashley Slater, the senior, in there for the first time. As the Deeks looking for some answers here. Lost 4 points in a row here in this second set. Ross didn't get it over, but got it right back. Another try, and that is out off the block.
Let's go all the way back to that first set. Audrey Ross's first swing, you might remember, felt like she was trying to aim the ball. These last couple, feels like she's swinging free and loose. She's one of the most powerful hitters that BC has, one of the tallest outside hitters that BC has as well. She's at her best when she's playing loose. And right now, she's letting it rip. That's what they need her to do.
So 5 points in a row here on the Anna Murphy serve for Boston College. Back set for Slater. That's up into the scaffolding up top, and it comes down in a good position for BC to play it. Carney down the line. Well dug by Schroeder. Another chance for Wake. Adams on the setup. That time Carney got way up high and delivers the point for Wake Forest to end the 5-0 run.
Deeks at their best again, in system off the free ball. Roach this time. Looks like she almost got stuck. I don't know if she just kind of got flat-footed, maybe thinking that was going to be a back set, but just way, way too much room for Carney there.
Float serve. Here's Hoppus. Took something off. And into the net, so a point for BC.
Again, feels like Hoppus is looking for that angle shot. Got blocked last time, so switches it up this time and is able to draw Crawford into the net.
Eagles will rotate Lambros back in, up 6-3 in this second set. Middle block, well executed, Dior Charles.
Good top spin on that ball, making sure it snuck in on that sideline. Again, known a little bit more for her block, but got to keep the defense honest and set the middle when you can.
Too far for Jensen. A little miscommunication in the back line there between Ross and Murphy for Boston College.
Well, as a libero, you're always the backup setter, right, out of system. So Lambros doesn't have a chance to get back to this ball. Murphy just leads Jensen a little too far there.
So 6-5 now, and Farrell, who had a good serving run in the first set for Wake Forest. Jensen had to reach for that one. It was a touch out in front as well. Boston College into the net.
Right idea by Roach, just I think, a couple quick turns and you sort of get off balance a little bit, just trying to do a little too much, reaches too far, catches the tape.
Farrell, the ACC Freshman of the Year last year as the libero. Eagles get the point back the other way.
Now, Wake might be thinking back-to-back Rookie of the Years. They've got a couple good ones in Fish and Carney. Well, there are some talented first-year players all around the ACC.
Including this one right here, Audrey Ross with 4 kills tonight. Back set for Slater. Second time over, and the point for Wake. Gogar.
Nice patience by the redshirt senior. Just lets that ball come to her, gets on top of it. Really nice effort by Schroeder to get a first touch on it, but caught Murphy off guard, and then nobody could get to that final ball.
Emmy Ogogar, who started her career at Illinois State, then played a couple of seasons at West Virginia before coming into Wake last year. 4th on the team in kills, 2nd in hit percentage a year ago, and hitting at .349 so far this year. For second kill of the match tonight. 7-7 as Ava Torrance serves. And that's a miss hit. And a point for Wake.
Well, this is a little bit of a tough rotation for BC, right? You've got Murphy in the middle trying to take up as much space as possible. But then you've got freshman bookending her. Schroeder has shown the ability to pass all year long, as has Ross, but obviously as a server, you're going to attack a young player.
Well done on the BC side, but defended well by Wake. Murphy with the overpass off the dig. Baker with a back set and the slide. Good for Emmy Ogogar.
All started with a great block touch on a good swing from Schroeder. And then unable to take away enough space. Gogar, plenty of room to swing on that angle.
Here is Schroeder. That is, boy, it was blocked first, but then returned right back. Wake's trying to argue that the whistle came out too soon as it was stuck on the net there with Ogogar.
So they're going to argue that this first touch, watch as it comes back over, they're going to say that was a block attempt. And so when you deflect it as a blocker, you're allowed a second touch. But she's barely off the floor. I don't think she was even over the net level. And so that's why they called it. I don't know if Randy Smart's going to challenge this. But that's really just a judgment call on the fly.
It's overturned because if it's the judgment in real time, it likely stays the judgment. So they will not argue it here. So 9-8, and Roach on to serve for BC. That one sails long, and Wake has its 2-point lead back. This is what is reviewable in the NCAA challenge system installed over the last few years.
Yeah, so according to that list, I don't think it would be one of the things that you could even go back and challenge again, because it is a judgment call on the fly by the officials.
Paige Crawford on the serve. Lambros had to go with a bump set for Schroeder. Eagles block once again there. Haggerty and Jensen that time.
First one of the set for BC after a dominant blocking performance in that first. And again, just a little too much air, I think, under that set from Baker. It's not necessarily an out-of-system set, but it allows time for Haggerty to get over and close the window.
Grace Penn back into serve. Over on 2. Ryan Baker. That's her 29th kill of the year.
Got to be aware when that setter's in the front row. Baker waiting till the right time to pull that one out of her back pocket.
Again, Wake has morphed a little into more of a two-setter rotation, as we've talked about, as that is into the net with Baker and with Kylie Adams after Baker had really been playing the majority of the time earlier in the season. And Randy Smart said it was really just about getting each of them at their strengths and who was better at setting certain spots. And they feel like it really helps them. And also just speaks to, as the Eagles serve as long, how good Wake's DSs and liberos have been, that she doesn't want to touch them and take them out because they're kind of been the keys to the team.
Right, because if you run a 6-2 the way that Boston College does, well, you're going to need more pin hitter depth, which Wake is lacking a little bit right now due to some injuries. But it also takes away that opportunity to utilize the ability of Torrance and Willick, who have both been outstanding tonight, both serving and passing. So you sort of keep that setter in the same spot, let Baker be aggressive in the front row, and take advantage in the back.
Ross did a nice job waiting that time. Got the block up into the air and wins the point.
A little bit of a slow start for Audrey Ross in that first set, but she's coming on strong here in the second again. Just waiting for the ball, good patience, like you said, letting that ball get to her, and going strong through the hitting zone.
So 12-11 in this competitive second set here from Chestnut Hill. Miss hit, Anna Murphy gets the ace.
Number 6 tonight for BC.
6 aces and 7 blocks for Boston College. Backline Crawford, that missed.
Close, very close. First time I think we've seen Wake Forest pull that pipe set out. Again, feels like both teams really are just kind of searching offensively because there's not one player, not one play, not one set that's really been working consistently for anyone yet.
Feels like it's been very few true clean kills. That never got over. Both teams now with 11 attack errors, and neither team is hitting over 100.
It was the longest run for either team in the set.
Out in front, boy, Charles, you can really see the potential there the first year from Los Angeles. Hitting .305 over her freshman season. That makes it 14-13.
Yeah, again, good design play right off of the serve receive. Has to be a good first pass. It is. And an excellent shoot set for Charles.
Penn trying to find Hoppus. Went to the middle. Well dug by Willock. Slater. It's kept alive by Murphy. Penn does manage to get it over. Adams looking for Crawford. Dug by Schroeder. Here's Ross trying again down the line, and it is out. So back-to-back points for Wake.
Well, if Ross puts that away, it's a huge momentum swing for Boston College on those great saves. Just tries to do a little too much, forcing it down the line, and you could see over-rotated a little bit on the swing.
Hoppus. Best swing of the day so far for Sam Hoppus, coming off of her best game as an Eagle against Virginia, earning this 15-14. Eagles on rotation have their best server, Sophie Lambros, out of the timeout. Roach got it over on the first attempt. BC will play it out. Here's Ross. Crawford from the back line. Another shot here for the Eagles. Jensen's really looked for those tips all day on her opportunities. That one looked like it was tipped, so the Eagles have to play it. Adams back set. Slater, who's gotten a lot of time and a lot of swings in this second set.
Able to put one away for her first kill, getting an opportunity, the converted middle, taking over for Olivia Fish, who was off to a little bit of a slow start. That time, BC, you could see, thrown out of sorts a little bit. Roach had to come back to that last ball, set up the free ball opportunity for Wake Forest, and a nice set there for Slater.
Slater playing in just her 9th set of the season. Was an all-ACC freshman team selection in her first year, now as a senior. Missed some time last year due to injury. Here's Ross. That did not get through the block.
All started with a tough first pass. Lambros had to chase, tried to put it on a tee for Ross, let her go up and get it. But again, Charles is up there ready and waiting.
So Emma Farrell to serve for Wake Forest. Wake with the lead back, 16-15. Schroeder from the back line, it gets the point.
Well, that almost took a friendly bounce for the Deeks. It was spinning, 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 and if it caught the rafter, I think it would have sat flat and allowed Adams to chase it down, but it just missed the roof and kept going away towards the bench.
So Ross back to serve for Boston College. Adams again, setting up Crawford. That was the best look of the day for Paige Crawford. The sophomore and the ACC leader in kills, attempts, and points.
Yeah, really good first passes, whether it's off the serve or off a free ball right now from Wake. And when they've been able to do that, they've been able to run their offense. And you're starting to see those big, big swings from the likes of Crawford and Charles, and now starting to get Slater involved as well.
6th kill for Crawford on 19 swings today. Baker, good shot through the middle. Emmy Ogogar. And Wake Forest with the lead by 2.
This is a perfect example of what Randy Smart talked with us about. Block touch makes it an easy pass for Willock, allows the Deeks to get in system, and Ogogar off that quick set doing what she does best.
Jason Kennedy was considering a challenge on that play, and it looks like he indeed will.
Challenging for a net.
Jason has traditionally been pretty good with his challenges.
Well, it's interesting because you almost wonder, sometimes these challenges are used maybe not so much to challenge a point as to challenge a timeout. Now,
right
there is a
on
little
the way
movement
down
of the net, yeah. But I was going to say, the BC coach has both of his timeouts, so if he wanted to call a timeout, I'm sure he would just burn the one.
Well, I think you did see on that look a little bit of a ripple of the net on the way down.
Right. And the ball had clearly already gone past the plane. So
watch
I think
the bottom of your screen right there.
Reasonable to assume that it's a body contacting the net there and it's not the ball. I guess it's the other question is, do you sort of have enough camera looks to piece together enough? I mean, we can look at that and say it's reasonable to assume. For official purposes, right. I don't know that you can necessarily make that assumption. You have to see definitive evidence. I guess it's a question of whether that is enough to be considered definitive.
And a call on the floor being no net violation, obviously, is important here, as you need something to overturn, as you talked about. Well, if you piece it together, harder to tell on that angle.
Right. It's not breaking the plane. You know, it's contact at the bottom. And if anything, it looks like Crawford's probably a little bit closer there than Ogogar.
Yeah, that one's really a pretty good example of, like you said, you can see the net move, but at least on that camera shot, you really can't necessarily see who and what caused the net to move. So
what would they call this? Circumstantial evidence?
So you're starting to figure out, can you piece a couple of different looks together? And then we get into a conversation of what is indisputable evidence.
Yeah, you can sort of see the jersey.
There's nothing else there that would cause the net to move. Maybe it's the jersey right there.
Yeah, it does look like
13 for Wake. We're looking at Crawford.
It does look like it kind of comes through that last square. You can sort of see the top of the white tape at the bottom of the net disappear behind the jersey, I think. It's going to be really close, though. This is definitely a close call, and if it works out for Boston College, it's going to be a big swing because it's the difference in 17-17 versus 18-16. And that's why they're taking a long time to double-check this one.
Folks, make sure to stay with us. Coming up in between the second and third sets today, we're going to have a great story of BC sophomore setter Hannah Hoffman telling us about her cousin Sam and the amazing work her family has done to bring awareness to an extremely rare neurological disease. It's a really great story. Make sure to stay with us for that. That's coming up after this second set. I think I would, at this point, if they haven't made a decision, it's just stick with it, I think, is the way replay should work. But I think, and I'll let Jason tell me if I'm wrong on Sunday if I'm wrong, but I would say there's not enough there.
Well, if they're looking this long at something, leads you to believe they are looking to make sure that there is something there.
And they're going to stick with it. You could infer, perhaps, but I'm not sure you could
definitively determine.
Not sure you could convict.
Overwhelming evidence.
So it's an important moment, and it's a 2-point lead for Wake deep into the second set at 18-16. Here is Jensen. Well played by Wake. That was Torrance who collected, and Crawford starting to heat up.
And again, it's that block touch, right? Torrance is able to have some time off the deflection to go chase it down. And a really excellent set by Baker. Again, that ball's coming from behind her head. She's doing a 360 and then setting it up for Crawford, who again just elevates over the block.
7 kills for Crawford now. Lambro slides that over to Schroeder. That is to a T what Jason Kennedy in this fast-paced offense is looking to do for Boston College.
I was going to say, that's almost classic Boston College, right? Feels like the Eagles have kind of slowed their tempo down a little bit more often than not this year, but that's a good, quick set. Schroeder's up there waiting for it and doesn't miss.
Here's the freshman Brooklyn Yelland into the game for the first time out of Laguna Beach. Comes in as a defensive specialist and a serving specialist who gets the Eagles within 1.
Just giving a different look, right, to Wake Forest. This is the part late in the set, more often than not, where you'll see Yelland come in to serve for that other middle. You know, Murphy's able to serve for one. They use Yelland to serve for the other.
Slide play. O'Gogar did not get it through the block. Haggerty and Schroeder. And a tie match at 19. And Randy Smart will use the timeout.
Well, it's not necessarily a free clinic in blocking from Julia Haggerty. She's fading off the net. She's probably about a half foot off. But again, just takes away the window, right? And that's a line drive hit from O'Gogar. So sometimes it's you get a little luck from the net bounce, and Haggerty did just that there.
So 19-19, and an important 3-0 scoring run there for Boston College after Wake had built the lead to 19-16. Kind of amazing. Boston College is 7-0 at home so far this year. Wake Forest is trying to take the first set off Boston College in this building this year.
What we saw last year, I think, right? BC didn't have the opportunity to play any non-conference matches during the early part of the season here as the building was still kind of under construction. And we saw during ACC play that this has been a home court advantage for Boston College, whether it's been good turnouts or, just a kind of a new look floor. They have worked very hard to make the Cannell Center here a difficult place to play for the opposition. They had one of their most successful home weekends in ACC play last year, sweeping both Miami and Florida State. And they're looking to get off to a good start in ACC play here with this 4-match homestand. And they know it has to be a home court advantage because they got off to a difficult start on the road, just taking 1 of 4. Obviously, there were tough opponents, but, if you're going to lose some matches on the road, you're going to have to win a lot at home.
Both of these teams have talked about the idea of trying to find wins on the road. Jason is up to 94 wins in his career at Boston College in his 6th season, has just completely turned around this program from where it was when he started. And now the NIVC champs a year ago. That was double contact on Wake, so the Eagles have the lead back. And wherever this season might end up, there are conversations that start with that four-letter word that starts with NC and ends in AA and has tournament at the end for really both of these programs, which is a testament to what both these coaches have done. Good shot again in the middle. Emmy Ogogar really starting to heat up as well. The 5th-year middle block.
Yeah, it's just so much easier for Wake Forest, again, when those first passes are good and when they're able to really run the middles. Takes a lot of pressure off Crawford and Carney on the outside and allows them to kind of swing a little bit more freely.
Andy Smart is telling us she was told a long time ago, if you're building a program, start with the first contacts, figure out the rest from there, and that's what Wake has built this team on this year. That is somehow still alive on the Wake side. Jenna Pollock, who's in there on this sequence. There's Schroeder, tried to go over top. Over for Schroeder again. That is off the antenna.
Just a little too amped up here from Lambros on these sets, pushing her too far out. You can see Schroeder, I think, is looking for that tempo that we saw earlier on a side out. And it's just taking the connection is not there right now. Schroeder's looking for that ball a little earlier, a little bit tighter in from the pin. And Lambros is trying to push her out a little bit too far. So need those two to get on the same page if you're BC.
Here's another look at just what you're talking about.
Yeah, you can see a lot of air under that ball. And Schroeder, you can see on her approach, she's coming further in from the pin, and she almost has to stop and has to fade back on it. She's looking for that ball sooner. She's looking for it a little bit tighter. And one of her best weapons is even when the block is there, she swipes across. And that's why she needs that room in from the pin to be able to swipe it across the block and get that block touch out. I think that's sort of what she's looking for on those balls.
So 21-20, Wake Forest back in the lead right now over BC in this second set, with the Eagles already taking set one. Again, neither team has hit it all that well today. Both still hitting under 100. The errors have been up, but you've really started to see Crawford and Ogogar, their numbers rising here a little bit. 5 kills on 8 swings for Ogogar, 7 kills, 143 hit percentage for Crawford. Wake is a little bit built differently than BC, as we've talked about. It's fewer pins, so you really need your horses to start to heat up at moments of the match like this, and it feels like they're starting to for Wake.
Yeah, really the difference is for Crawford is that those kills are climbing in terms of the percentage of swings she's getting. She could get 1 million swings if she's only putting away, 10% of them. BC will live with that, I think. They'll say that's good defense on their end, but now she's starting to be one and done more often.
And it's back to serve right now. It's Murphy who had to set for Boston College. So a chance here for Wake. Eagles block the slide on the first attempt, but then that's deflected out. And it's a point to Wake. Took a minute for the referee to signal where it was going, but it was blocked out.
It's a tough break because Kearney just missed it wide here, just a miss hit, but Pollock gets caught.
So 22-20 Wake Forest here in the second set. Schroeder, good dig in the back by Emma Farrell. Crawford had to hesitate his touch, still made Murphy dive for it. Kearney again. Was that one touched? This time it was not.
No, just overcooked it again. Boy, how about Schroeder hanging in there on a couple of tough sets? Put a good swing on the first one. And Murphy kind of gets caught having to watch as Crawford put the ball in a good spot. But again, Schroeder makes the adjustment, extends the rally, and gives BC a fighting chance.
Kearney, second try, took something off. Haven't seen as much of that from Wake, but that one really worked well against the Eagles block.
And I was actually expecting to see a few more of these tips here, as well as BC's been blocking, especially out of system. Look for that change of pace. Kearney goes to it here after getting turned away on the first swing. But again, it's the Deeks defense keeping them in the point as they're able to rally off that first block and give Kearney another look. She changes it up. Good deft tip as well. I mean, really took a lot of air out of that ball.
Elena Crabtree in for Boston College for the first time. And Kendall Phillips, the junior defensive specialist, in for Wake for the first time to serve. Officials are just checking over on the rotations. Penn gives Crabtree a chance just into the game. That was actually still alive after it hit one of the beams on the back of the court, but Wake couldn't quite find it. So Crabtree comes in for that 1 point and delivers.
Felt like they were going to go to her, no question, right? Sat, watched, but she's a veteran, knows that she could be called upon at any time. She was always ready to go.
And 9 assists now for Grace Penn. 23-22, second set. And Hallie Schroeder, the freshman. Sails long.
You could see right off contact that was just going to carry a little bit. And what did we talk about late in the first set? Timing everything on those serves, especially if it's going to be an error. You'd rather miss early in the set, have a chance to make up for it later than miss when you have a chance to tie late.
So set point now for Wake Forest and Ryan Baker. It's a bump set for Slater, and Wake takes set 2. Instructed this year that if Jason Kennedy decides he wants to try to find something different off his bench, there is a lot of experience there as the block is up front, whether that's Crabtree, whether that's Pollock.
We saw Slater finish off that second set. They go right back to her to start the third, but Haggerty with a great read is all over it.
Here's Crawford, that's blocked. So first 2 points, and the Eagles block has been well positioned like it was in the first.
Feels like Julia Haggerty's just in the head of the setter, right? She knows where Kylie Adams is going with the ball before Adams even sets it.
10 blocks tonight for Boston College. Nearly had another with Haggerty right there. There's Ross, took something off. Adams was there. Here is Slater. Ashley Slater, who had 2 kills on 7 swings in that second set, adds another and has Wake's last 2 points.
Didn't get a chance to play last weekend against Clemson or Georgia Tech, but with Fish off to a slow start, Slater gets the call, does a good job finding a little bit of a seam there.
Here's Hoppus. Nice dig by Farrell. Little out in front of Crawford, still managed to get it over. Hoppus trying again. Boy, that's a wonderful play by Crawford, falling to keep that point alive. Here's Ross, and it's blocked.
Only one option for Penn on the set that time. Hoppus was taken out by the tip. Haggerty's out as well, recovering off the block, so easy read for the Wake Forest front line to know where that ball's going, and Ross had no window.
Ross tried to push that to the back. Willock right there. And Ogogar.
Again, Ross maybe remembering the block prior. Opts for a tip, but Wake Forest has done a real good job covering the tips all night.
Jenna Pollock comes in for Ross. Hoppus. A little bit of a different wrinkle when you have the lefty in on that right side.
Yeah, it sounds confusing, right? Left-handed hitter, right side of the net. But that's the strong side, right, for a left-handed hitter. You know, that's the strong attack approach for Hoppus. She's opening up to the widest part of the floor. Does a good job swiping it off the block there.
Ogogar. Just enough to tip it off the block.
I missed wide, actually. No, bounced off the net.
Okay, there you go. So 4-3 Boston College. Good job by the Eagles blockers to avoid touching it as it took that ricochet. Slater off the block and out.
Yeah, Roach just unable to redirect it down here. Another look at that setter switch now as Adams, her spot comes into the front row. It's the same spot in the rotation. It's just a different body now with Baker.
Ava Torrance, the grad student, coming into Wake from Purdue. Hoppus. Wake starting to do a better job of angling that off the block. That one missed out to make it 5-4 Deeks.
Yeah, recognizing where the hands were. Crawford able to find the inside of the right arm of Hoppus and redirect it out of bounds.
Pollock. Excellent dig by Willock. Off a deflection. Pollock trying again. This time it was Farrell. And now Crawford. And Boston College went into the net.
This is a really difficult rotation right now for BC because you're trying to find a way to put a ball away against a back row of Farrell, Torrance, and Willock. And they're going to pick up every tip and anything soft. So you've got to drive it hard, and that plays into the block's favor.
Into that, so the Eagles get a point. So 6-5.
And that's a little bit of a break, right? Because you get a free one, and now you're, one more rotation away from getting away from that back trio.
And it also gets your best server into the game in Lambros. Good dig by Murphy off of Crawford's try. Pollock to the back line. Again, Willock is right there. And the block is out.
Good try there by Jensen. I mean, she definitely takes a lot of steam out of it, but, one-on-one, it's hard to expect your blocker to win there against Crawford.
Crawford up to 10 kills now. First into double-figure kills tonight. Jensen, that was her best swing in a while.
Yeah, really quiet in that second set. I don't know if just didn't get a lot of opportunity, perhaps. BC spent a lot of that second set playing out of system. Not necessarily Jensen's forte. Tough set, though, for Lambros. Jensen finds a little hole underneath the block.
Pollock, big serve, couldn't get it on the back line.
Yeah, we saw this from Jenna Pollock last year, right, when she started to play on that left side some, when she would serve. A little bit trick or treat with it. When the big jump serve goes well, it's really difficult. When it doesn't go so well, it's usually a free point for the other team.
That sails long, so trading points on the service errors. Eagles will bring in Brooklyn Yelland here. It's earlier than we're used to seeing Yelland come in as the DS.
And just trying to utilize her serve as much as possible without getting yourself caught up against the sub-limit.
Little out in front of Carney. Here is Schroeder. Oh, good block. Dior Charles, the freshman, just in a perfect spot.
You can see again, I think Schroeder's expecting this ball a little bit sooner. And that's something that BC may want to try to do. Obviously, you know, when Charles is out there, she's pretty quick to get to the spot. So as a hitter, you got to be maybe a little bit quicker to beat her.
Here's Jensen. Back-to-back good swings from Kat Jensen. Eagles leader in kills now with 6.
And this is really what BC needs a little bit more of here in this third set. You know, the block is starting to take hold for Wake. Their defense in the back row is excellent. So you got to find some players who are just going to hammer that ball, put it away, because tips, pushes, not going to get the job done right now.
Grace Penn back in on rotation for BC. Charles out in front. Schroeder is blocked. That's a couple times now that the block has been there on Schroeder.
Yeah, and that's a tough matchup. Again, good recognition by Charles here, but you've essentially got two middles blocking, and that's really more Slater than anything else. Does a good job coming in to look for that set. You know, it's clear where Schroeder wants the ball, and Charles is recognizing that and meeting her at the spot.
Back set for Schroeder. And that's what happens, right? The block's in position, so you try to go higher with it. And that time missed it a bit high.
Yeah, you can sense a little bit of frustration right now, maybe. You know, that block taking away a lot. One thing that BC can do to help alleviate it a little bit is they can go to the middle.
This is Hoppus, and that is blocked out. So Boston College gets the point. Eagles will take Schroeder out here for Crabtree, and Pollock is back in for Murphy's spot. That, by the way, is 11 assists for Grace Penn. That is 1999 in her Boston College career. Crawford got it through.
Well, Crawford gets the kill, but this is as much about Kylie Adams as anything else. It's a tight set to the net. Line drive pass off a pretty good serve from Crabtree. And Adams does a great job negotiating the net and the line underneath to be able to get that ball to Crawford.
Yelland had a dive to even make that play. Chance for Slater, and that missed. So it looked like a free point for Wake. And Boston College gets bailed out.
We're going to harp on it. This is good positioning from the block again. Haggerty has time to get over. Pollock is in from the pin, showing Slater that line shot. She just turns it a little bit too far.
Good job through the middle block, Emio Gogar.
Well, Adams just running a clinic on that rotation. Another really tough set. Has to go low. Not expecting the middle set there. You know, when your setter has to get down on a ball like that, you're almost expecting them to come from underneath, loft it up to the outside. Instead, good timing with Ogogar on the quick set.
Back set for Hoppus. And that is assist number 2,000 in the career of Grace Penn.
Well, great set for great set. Penn again showing that great body control, coming towards the ball, and that good strength to push it back. And a good matchup for Hoppus to win there.
For Hoppus, her 6th kill, which ties her with Jensen. Just one error so far. Eagles on this rotation. Jane Petrie is in for Lambros. So Wake Forest picks up the point.
Again, when the Deeks are in system, starting to come a little bit easier, the offense. And again, even though the numbers, as we've said, are not necessarily eye-popping, what is starting to grow is the differential in hitting percentage for what Wake is doing compared to what BC's doing right now.
Yeah, Wake at 136 for the match, but remember that was after hitting straight 0 percentage-wise in that first set. So you look at where they've been since then, as Boston College gets the point here. You can definitely feel Jason Kennedy trying to find the right mix of 6 on the floor. I feel like we've seen more changes in this set than we're used to seeing, sometimes in a whole match. And that serve is long for Pollock.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that he's looking for a group that's going to get the offense in gear, a group that's going to start to put the ball away. Because right now, BC just not finding it any easy on offense.
Wake hitting 227 in this third set. That's the best of any group in any set so far tonight. I think warm-up tops the Eagles were sporting today, and a nice video tribute that's played throughout the building as well. And what has been a really competitive match. We're in set 3, 15-12 Wake Forest, with each team taking one of the first 2 sets. Emio Gogar to serve for Wake. It feels like the offense is slowly starting to come here for Wake Forest. Jane Petrie, who's in the set right now. There's Jensen. Another chance off the overpass. This time Jensen converts.
Well, big swing the first time through for Jensen. Leads to a secondary chance off the free ball. Again, would like to see a little bit more to the middle. Only 11 sets to the middle so far tonight from BC.
Elena Crabtree is back in on this rotation for BC. And Cornelia Roach to serve for the Eagles. That is long. Was it tipped? No.
Everybody on the Wake Forest side says tip.
And I think we're going to get a second look.
Well, Randy Smart's got the card. Will she actually call for it, though? Might have been talked out of it by her staff.
I always wonder on those tip plays, it just is so hard to overturn because, I mean, it's just kind of millimeters of, did a finger bend here or there sometimes? That it sometimes can be a tough call to challenge. That is off of the body of Charles on the slide. With the block there for Boston College, that's 11 blocks for the Eagles tonight.
And here's Crabtree making a difference. Doesn't get all of it, just the left arm, but gets enough of it to knock it back into Charles. Not much you can do when the ball comes back and hits you out of bounds.
So again, definitely a different look here for BC with veterans of Pollock and Crabtree in place of the freshmen on the left side. Crabtree, that set was a touch behind. And BC will get a chance to play it out. What a job by Wake after what looked like a momentary miss hit. Here is Jensen off the back set. That's on an overpass, and Crabtree converts.
Yeah, Haggerty, it's tough because when you watch it back, it looks like she comes under the ball. But if she closes the fist, it's a legal play. And I think that's what she does. I think she got it closed in time to be able to punch it over. Boy, that's a great reactionary play by Haggerty to adjust.
4-0 scoring run by BC gives the Eagles the lead at 16-15 here in the third set. So 4 points in a row, all out of the timeout for Boston College. That does just get over, and then Haggerty at the net, but then a miss hit there by Roach.
And this is the tough part of this rotation for BC. No Anna Murphy on the floor. Petrie takes that first ball. Normally that's Murphy quarterbacking it and setting somebody up. Roach late to recognize that's her play. And she and Pollock obviously have not spent a lot of time playing in that back line together.
And it is Murphy who comes back in here after the next rotation. Haggerty, a little short.
You know, it doesn't end up being a point, but I like the idea, right? Just take a little bit of pressure off the pins. Try to keep Wake Forest honest in the middle. Again, their block has started to take hold here in the third, so maybe you loosen things up a little bit.
Haggerty again meets an overpass with Wake trying to return it. That is down the line and out. Ava Carney couldn't keep it in.
You know, as much as the Wake offense has gotten going, it's really just been a two-headed attack. It's been Ogogar and it's been Crawford, with Slater and Dior Charles chipping in a little bit here and there. Carney really hasn't had much opportunity, hasn't found a lot of consistency.
Trying here. Pollock on the back line, then Grace Penn had a bump set, and Crabtree this time is long.
Yeah, tough ball. Penn's having to chase it down, just lofted up there. Crabtree maybe trying to do a little bit too much on that swing. You know, we talked about BC needing to be a little bit more terminal with its offense to get around this Wake block and the great defense that they have in the back, but when you're in those plays, it's just more about extending the rally than anything else.
Ooh, took an odd bounce skipping off the net. And Wake has a 2-point lead, 19-17.
Yeah, really good serve here from Willock. Haggerty steps back. Again, this is a serve-receive combination that really hasn't had a lot of court time so far this year for BC.
Even that one came up high, a touch on Pollock. Here's Hoppus. Couldn't get it through the block. Penn comes flying in to even give the Eagles a chance. Slater. Murphy with a bump set. Crabtree onto the back line. Willock. Then it is Hoppus who returns the favor.
Yeah, that's a great example, right, of the difference that Murphy makes on those broken plays. When the setter has to take the first ball, it's the libero always who's the backup. And when they're not on the floor, it makes all the difference in the world, even if it's only for one rotation.
So 19-18 Wake. Boy, that had a lot of spin on it, but the Deacs find a point. Ashley Slater.
That's a veteran play by a veteran player. Hoppus is up there early, so Slater knows Haggerty's coming late, so just pushes on that angle and uses the late run of Haggerty against her.
Ogogar. Pretty good try on three. Here's Pollock. That was off the block, kept alive. Crawford set up.
Now you see the difference that the defense is making right now for Wake Forest. Really good swing the first time through by Crabtree. And Willock, it's not a great touch, but it's a good enough touch. It puts a lot of air under the ball. It allows Baker to come back and make a play. And again, you said Ogogar was able to do a lot with that ball. and force BC into a little bit of an awkward setup. And then Crawford doing what she does best, putting the ball away.
That's 33 swings now for Paige Crawford. Again, it just feels, I mean, they're just going to keep going to her. And, you know, if it can be about 188 on the percentage there for the season, Crawford is at 225, so maybe it's a little bit below, but still doing enough to get those points.
Right, and I think if you showed this to Jason Kennedy, he would say, look, this is what we expected. Keep Crawford a little bit below her normal percentage. Agoger's an excellent middle. She's obviously going to have a lot of high percentage swings and is taking care of the ball. I think Boston College is doing what it wants in terms of, you know, limiting Kearney. Slater's been a little bit of an added boost that maybe was unexpected, where Fish got pulled early. But what Boston College is not doing enough of on its end is finishing plays and taking care of balls. And that's why you're seeing the Eagles search for a combination that will get the job done in the front row. Now it's Crabtree and Pollock. Before we saw Ross and Schroeder get the start. You know, Jensen's been a little hot and cold. So BC right now is searching for the right mix. Again, I think it would go a long way if they could get the middles a little bit more involved. We saw Haggerty have a couple nice kills in that first set. They tried once here in the third. They've tried swapping setters, Petrie and for Lambros. Ultimately, it's just going to be a little bit of a continuous juggle, I think, for BC until they find that magic group. If they can find it tonight is the question.
You know, it's interesting. We talked about it off the top of the show, but again, you talked about someone stepping into a role and earning playing time. Best hit percentage on the team is Sam Hoppus. She's been the lowest error today, just one error on 17 swings with 7 kills.
And she's probably been the one consistent throughout this match.
Crabtree had a lunge for it. Chance here for Wake. Already up 3 and make it 4. And it's another play through the middle block. 9 kills now for Emmy Ogogar. So between Charles and Ogogar, that's 11 kills through the middle block.
Meanwhile, you look at the middles for BC. They've only got 13 swings.
Hoppus that time blocked.
Good job by Crawford penetrating there all over that one, and Agogar just does enough to help close off the angle.
So 23-18 in Boston College. And Jason Kennedy can't take him with you, so we'll use his second time out of this third set. First of 2 this weekend for these two teams. Wake Forest will hit the road up to Syracuse. Boston College will be home to take on Virginia Tech, who is already a winner earlier today in 3 sets up at Syracuse. They will be here on Sunday. And you look at what is ahead, and again, there's not really that easy game in the ACC all the way through.
No, certainly not, Eric. Never an easy game. But again, you go 1-3 on the road. You got 4 at home. This is where Boston College was hoping they were going to be able to take advantage. And right now they're on the verge of going down 2-1 to a very good Wake Forest team, albeit. But this is a match when you're at home. If you're Boston College, you're hoping you should win. Try to get that home stretch off to a good start. You got Virginia Tech on Sunday and then Duke and UNC to follow. So, 1-3 on the road. Probably got to try to flip that record around and try to be at least 500 coming out of this homestand.
So 23-18, Wake Forest trying to win a second set in a row after the Eagles took the opening set tonight. It is the libero Emma Farrell, the sophomore from Norcross, Georgia, to serve for Wake. Crabtree from the back line. Another good dig by Farrell. There's the reason she was the ACC Freshman of the Year last year. And that dig helps set point for Wake.
Just right now, everything feels like it's coming very easy for Wake, whether it's the defense or the offense. And everything for Boston College feels like it's requiring that extra effort.
going to end up in a point for BC. Pollock did enough to get it over.
Almost looked like she slipped coming up off the floor. Not going to work on the floor. Maybe just got her feet tied up in her approach there.
Slater, 1-2 for Wake. Here's Pollock. That is into the net. And Wake Forest with back-to-back sets. Up 2-1. 25-19 for Wake. Hit 189 in that third set. Again, nothing to write home about, but enough to win. And it's 2-1 Wake.
Welcome to Ideation Station. As you write, Grammarly can suggest
Crawford and Ogogard. Crawford and Ogogard. And here, let's watch Emmy Ogogard really go to work, especially in that third set.
Well, you see what a difference being able to get productivity out of the middle makes for an offense. You know, it's always going to be a higher percentage swing. Those middle hitters always have a higher hit percentage than anybody else because they are swinging out of the middle, because they get those quick set opportunities. But Goger has just been clinical just about every time she set the ball. Got blocked a couple times early, but has stuck with it, shown the confidence of a veteran player, and has provided that spark out of the middle that's helped loosen things up, I think, a little bit to allow Paige Crawford to get it going after a tough first set.
So Gogart hitting 400, 9 kills. We talked about Crawford up to 212, which now is about closer to her season average. And Wake Forest trying to find one more set here on the road and pick up a third ACC win of the season.
And we're going to see more juggling right out of the gate for Boston College. Jason Kennedy going back to a grouping that he's used a little bit more frequently with Schroeder and Crabtree on the left side, and now flipping Audrey Ross, who started on the left side tonight, back to the right where she's seen a little bit more time this year.
And it's Jane Petrie who is in as the setter in this rotation rather than Lambros. Wake up 2-1 and on serve here to begin set number 4. Schroeder did not get it over the block. Here is Roach from the middle. And Wake went into the net. Dior Charles called for the violation.
A little mix-up early on. Initially, Jason Kennedy signaled Anna Murphy to go serve for Roach and changed his mind. He wants Murphy to serve for Haggerty. He's going to give Roach a chance to serve. Remember, she had a couple aces back in the first set.
And has another.
Again, she's not trying to do too much. Just let the ball float. Try to cause trouble for the defense. You know, you've got Crawford right now in this serve receive. Her defense is excellent, but just try to make her work a little bit more and see if you can wear her down a little bit. She's obviously been working hard out there.
Schroeder didn't quite have the angle.
Looks like Wake's made a little bit of a change too. Baker is back to being the sole setter right now. This is the rotation where they've had Kylie Adams in as the back row setter, but they're sticking with Baker here.
18 assists for Ryan Baker so far tonight. Touch of an overpass, but Haggerty made up for it. But again through the middle, and double digits now for Emmy Ogogar.
All starts with that serve receive, right? Makes life tough. Forces BC to bail out. Excellent job on the pass by Willick there, backpedaling. Still able to control that ball perfectly.
Ross is blocked. So early
we talked a lot about the Boston College block, but as this match has gone on, the Wake block has made itself known.
Well, 6 blocks in that first set for Boston College, only 5 since. Wake Forest is just getting it locked in defensively, both up front and in the back.
Petrie, good set for Haggerty, who wins in the back row.
First time in a while that Haggerty's really had a chance to swing at a ball on a set. Just hasn't gotten locked in yet with Petrie. And we'll see. This is usually one of the stronger rotations with Penn coming in to serve.
Baker, good back set. Slater, who's really been an X factor for Wake Forest. Again, remember, came in having played only 8 sets so far this season, but has made a huge impact ever since coming into the second set.
Well, you said there wasn't a lot of depth at the pin, but what depth there was really just Ashley Slater. It's a converted middle. Coming in on that right side for Fish and has looked very comfortable.
Starting to see more of the middle for Boston College. That's what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I think it had to be one of the talking points in between sets for Boston College. Again, you know, you have to look for opportunities to set the middle to just take some of the pressure off the pins. You know, allow that block for Wake to loosen up a little bit.
Haggerty, back-to-back points.
All starts with a really good serve here from Schroeder. You know, having a little bit of a tough night up front, but can't let it affect the other parts of your game. Still have to bring the serve, still have to pass when you're in the back.
Pretty impressive set there from Baker.
Does a nice job to get low on that. Elevate it for Crawford, who lets it fly. And again, this is the power you get from Paige Crawford. Again, the block takes away as much as they can. Murphy's in pretty decent position, just can't hook it back. Too strong a swing.
13 kills for Crawford, the match leader. Crabtree got it right back. Starting to see a few more wins here for Boston College, whether it's been the middle or their pins. Again, the Eagles still hitting under 100 for the match, but now 5 kills on 9 swings here in the 4th set.
Much better start, certainly. You know, in terms of just being able to finish off points, they've been under 100 in all 3 sets before, so got to keep that momentum going.
Carney was affected at the net. Penn with kind of a one-hand set to give her team a chance. Murphy bump set for Hoppus. Baker from the back row. Crawford powered it through.
I think Crabtree just a little bit late, or maybe even early on the block. I'll have to go back and see. This ball's up there for a while for Crawford. Yeah, you see Crabtree just a half step early. Got to get that block in tandem to really take away the alley, and Crawford does a good job finding those high hands.
What a job by the block.
Well, again, the pass forces Penn into only one setting option here. She has nowhere else to go but to Crabtree, and even though it's fast, the block knows exactly where it's going, so they're already there.
So 7-6, Wake Forest back in the lead here in the 4th set, and now even.
But again, blocks just swinging that momentum back to Wake Forest. You know, it was all Boston College in terms of the blocking in the first set, but sets 2, 3, and so far 4. The block has been firmly in the direction of the Deeks.
Carney. Murphy diving for it. Another chance for Crabtree. Block affecting it again. Ross this time with Farrell digging on the back line. over on 2. Second time that Ryan Baker's done that.
Yep, caught everybody flat-footed on the BC side. It's funny because you go back to the previous opportunity in the rally for Wake Forest, and it was another tight set. And you could see the blockers were hedging on Baker. And she set it out to a hitter. This time, they let her go, and she takes it herself.
And an ace to match afterwards.
Nice adjustment by Randy Smart, I think. Letting Baker just continue to set all the way around. It's what she's been comfortable with most of the year. And she's really distributing the ball well. Meanwhile, if you're Boston College, I think you have to adjust to that adjustment, right? Whenever Baker's in the back row, I think you have to start to try to take her out of the play a little bit more. Continue to try to attack her when she's in the front row.
It was behind Carney. Chance here for the Eagles. Here is Ross. Again, the block's in good position. Wake into the net. But, I mean, again, we talked about it earlier. Randy Smart, the one thing she told us, the idea of it's not necessarily the statted stuff, but our block's been really solid. And you're seeing a lot of that here as Eagles, after we talked about it earlier, not that many clean wins here of late. Carney trying again. Roach got a piece of it. Here is Schroeder off the bump set, gets the point.
First kill in a while for Schroeder. And again, this is what I was talking about when Baker's in the back row. A lot of good spin on that ball. Forces Baker to try to make the first touch. Can't react in time. Ball goes out, but to your earlier point, Eric, again, Boston College having to work extra hard, it feels like, for just about every point.
So a couple of points here in a row for the Eagles.
Good break there as Carney misses it into the net. Leads to an early timeout. But again, I think maybe a missed opportunity in transition to use the middle. Wake had a chance, couldn't convert. Right now, Boston College hoping to gain any little bit of momentum they can find.
11-9 BC lead thanks to a 4-0 scoring run here in the fourth. (11-9) lead. Boston College has won the last 4 points, but we've talked a lot about Wake's block and both the statted ones and the unstatted ones. Wake has been pretty good since the first set.
And I think one of the things that's been helping the block out certainly is that Boston College has been playing a lot out of system. Some tough first touches, setters forced to go to only one option. And when you're a blocker, if you know there's only one hitter available, you know exactly where to be.
Crawford punches over from the back line. Here's another chance for Schroeder, and again the block is there.
Good patience that time by the blockers, Charles and Slater again. This is a tough matchup for Schroeder. You're going against essentially two middles. And Charles has been on top of it tonight. Didn't really play much in the match against Georgia Tech. They used more of Olivia Frankie for her offense, but Charles paying dividends right now.
Audrey Ross, who's switched in there on the right side. That was a punch try from Charles. Ross going cross court. Ryan Baker right there. And that is off the block and out.
Well, that's so good by Crawford. This is not a good set, really, from Farrell. Just doesn't get enough air under it. Crawford, though, with a good sprint to the ball, just pushes it off Ross and out of bounds.
Slater with a diving play by Ross. Murphy has to set. Well played out on both sides, and Crawford took something off.
Wow. This is next level from Paige Crawford. Again, if you're going to be one of the top hitters in the ACC, you're going to have to be a good bad ball hitter. And we've seen two great examples in the last two swings from Crawford. Just puts a ton of torque on that ball, unbelievable spin, and drops it in a bucket.
Wake Forest trying to build back on their lead. 13-11, Deeks.
And you can see a little bit of visible frustration from Jason Kennedy. You know, they've gotten good passes the last couple of times off the serve, but not able to put a ball away, not able to make the key play defensively to extend a rally and give yourself another chance. And then you follow it up with a muffed pass on a serve. And all of a sudden things start to turn against you once again. Feels like for Boston College, the set started with a step forward, started to put a few balls away, started to take advantage of some opportunities. And all of a sudden, you know Wake Forest is going to have a pushback. And 2 steps back for the Eagles, forcing the timeout.
We mentioned Wake Forest will be traveling to Syracuse. They'll head up there tomorrow on a game that'll be on ACC Network on Sunday before returning home to take on Virginia Tech. Again, that NC State match really stands out. What can they do against a Notre Dame on the 22nd and then against some of the top teams? Again, we talked about Wake. You know, that match against Georgia Tech on Sunday, it was Wake Forest who out-hit the Yellow Jackets in that 5-set match.
Yeah, they definitely had a chance to pull out the victory there. Would have been a great resume booster early in the season for Wake Forest. As it stands, I think they definitely opened a lot of eyes. Georgia Tech just a little bit better, a little bit more polish and finish to be able to close out that match. I thought serving made a big difference as well. Georgia Tech had a really good 5th set serving the ball. We saw Boston College have a big advantage serving in the 1st set. Since then, it's really sort of been more even. A few more errors for Wake Forest, but the aces have been just about 50-50. And again, I think BC's just had a little bit more out of system since the 2nd set.
Willock to serve for Wake. Here is Schroeder. Wake is just so good in the back line. Another dig by Farrell. Slater had to reach for it. That one goes over from Petrie. Schroeder trying again. Baker in position once more. Slater off a back set, punched by Murphy. What a point this is becoming. Crawford, back row, missed.
The good old Matrix dodge from Crabtree. Get low, duck out of the way. Best rally of the night. Love it. Great defense all around.
So 13-12 now is the Wake lead here in the 4th set. Over on 2, it's worked 3 times.
Not a different call, though, from Baker, right? First 2, she's in the front row, goes over strong. This time it's that simple little 2-handed dump. And a good time to pull it out, too, right? When Murphy's not on the floor. Because typically that's her responsibility. You catch the middle hitter napping a little bit and steal a free point.
Wake has adjusted and gone back to Ryan Baker and more of a 5-1. And she has been very strong tonight. Crawford, that time though, is blocked.
First block of the set.
And 12th for the match for Boston College.
For the most part, Baker's been doing a good job pushing Crawford all the way out to the pin. This time, a little bit in. Didn't quite get enough on the set. Haggerty able to get over there in time to close it out.
That one did not get over. And BC has the lead back.
It's a rare miss. Gogar, again, set felt a little bit short that time, a little bit too far off the net from where Gogar would like it.
Beg your pardon, that made it 14-14. Here's Crawford. Schroeder trying again. Boy, the block's been really good on that side for Wake.
Yeah, Slater's made a difference almost as much in the blocking game. You could argue, I think, more in the blocking game than really offensively there. I mean, it's just a real big combo that Schroeder is staring into.
Hoppus to the back row with Farrell again getting a piece. Haggerty could not get through the Wake block. Emmy Ogogar.
It's a good decision. You just got to win the matchup, right? And Ogogar win the matchup.
What a pancake. Ava Torrance. Hoppus to the back row and got it.
Well, unbelievable cover on the tip. Torrance flying in. But great spot on the shot here from Hoppus. Takes just enough off of it.
Slide play works. 11 kills now for Emmy Ogogar.
Yeah, again, just a little bit of room in between the blockers this time. A little bit of an unconventional set. Baker closer to that side of the floor. You don't expect her to set that slide ball. And so that opens up a little bit of a window for Ogogar.
Deflected out. That is Ava Carney.
This is the Deeks giving BC a taste of its own medicine, running fast offense, quick set. Beats the block to the spot. Makes it a little easier for Carney.
And Jason Kennedy's going to use the timeout. Wake Forest is on a roll right now, paced by Ryan Baker. Back in as the lone setter. And the Demon Deacons now are 6 points away from wrapping this up.
And it's exactly what Randy Smart talked with us about earlier in the week. What are we doing better? First touches. Unbelievable block touches, making life easier on the defense, making life easier on the setters, in turn making life easier on the hitters. It's that whole transition, defense to offense. When it goes smoothly, it makes your offense look real smooth too. And that's how it's gone for Wake Forest here, really, since probably about the midway point of the second set.
It was really interesting because that first set, Wake felt really out of sequence. Again, credit to Boston College. They kind of served Wake into some of those positions, but they have really found a way to settle on the fly here and totally change the course of this match.
Absolutely. And part of it, I think, is the switch back to Baker, going into back to that true 5-1. I don't think Kylie Adams was necessarily doing anything bad. I think it was Baker just kind of got in a groove and elect to stick with it. The defense has been good enough. The blocking has been terrific. Dior Charles has been outstanding. Ashley Slater coming off the bench, giving them a lift. To the point where, Olivia Fish has basically sat and watched since the early part of the second set.
And, the other point, too, is just the fact there was that little Boston College run at the beginning of this fourth set, but Wake's just gotten a hand, a body, something on every shot, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, where was Boston College at the beginning, right? 5 kills.
It was 5 for 9.
On 9.
Yeah.
And since then, 3 kills on 29 swings. You know, it's just been extremely difficult for BC to get anything comfortable offensively, no matter who the personnel has been. Jason Kennedy seemingly tried every combination.
And Crawford and Ogogar have been the pace setters for Wake on the offensive side. Deacons trying to wrap up another ACC win. Eagles looking for a comeback. We've seen them go on runs so far. Penn with a bump set. Crabtree, another great dig. Emma Farrell is so good back there. And this time the Eagles are into the net.
And again, it's a point where everything is just coming with some difficulty for BC.
Well, change here is Jensen's going to come in as a left side for BC, replacing Crabtree. Jensen has to bump it again off a miss hit off the serve. Slide play. Schroeder defends to the back. Here is Haggerty pushing forward. Not going to beat Farrell on that back line. Jensen, good block again by Wake.
And it's a Gogar once again. Boy, she and Charles have just been right there every time.
Jensen got it that time.
You know, even from the beginning, it felt like she was really the one constant that was kind of able to put a ball down on first contact. I know she had some tough swings, especially to start out in that second set, but her power is just something that not a lot of the BC hitters are able to match.
A little short on the shot from Kearney. So 2 in a row for Boston College.
Well, this really continues a very pleasant trend for Wake, right? 11 blocks in their win over Clemson. They had 12 against Georgia Tech. And they got 14 tonight, which I think is a season high.
Don't think that got, yep, did not get over. So we'll see how quick Randy Smart wants to use one of those timeouts or let her team play it out. 3 in a row here for Boston College. Wake still with the 21-18 advantage, though, and a 2-1 lead here in the fourth. Jensen got it.
As is all Anna Murphy, doing what she does best, swallowing up a powerful swing. Gets some good clearance on the roof. And Jensen using her power to be able to put the ball away. That's been sort of the missing ingredient for Boston College tonight. Hoping they can get it going now with Jensen.
Up to 9 kills for Jensen on 23 swings. It's one of those kind of almost goes against your theory as a coach. You're looking at, you know, okay, this person a couple of errors, so you start to swap here and there. But it's felt like in this match kind of everyone's made some of those errors really on both sides. So you've had to sort of navigate your way around that.
Yeah, certainly there have been adjustments and then adjustments to those adjustments. And this is the chess match you get into when you get into conference play and you start to see more familiar faces, and you're starting to remember sort of matchups that have either worked out or not worked out in past years. You know, it was a fairly close 4-setter last year, but Jason Kennedy's also had success against Wake Forest, swept them 2 years ago in 2021 in a home-and-home. So, you know, there have been back and forths between these two coaching staffs.
Wake Forest, we've talked a lot about the blocks. They've tied a season high, and how many more have been not an official blocking stat, but just the block being in really good position.
Right, and whether it's forced a continuation on the Boston College side and force them into an out-of-system swing, or just allowed the defense to allow Wake Forest to be in system offensively, it has certainly made a big difference tonight. Charles, Ogogar, and Slater a big factor on that right side as well.
Carney, good swing, and that's such a good set from Ryan Baker to end the 4-0 scoring run.
Yep. Does a good job really bringing Carney in this time. Hasn't had an opportunity to really unleash her power a lot tonight, but does so there. Block a little bit too far to the outside that time from Hoppus and Roach.
Good job of the back line by Crawford. Here is Carney again. Another dig by Murphy. Jensen, second try, blocked.
And that is what they call a statement block. That's not a fingertip, a hand. This is an out roof from Dior Charles. Elevates, extends over the net, and says, this is not your night.
23-19. And Kendall Phillips, again, a late serving replacement, and it's match point. Baker sets up Carney, got through. And Wake Forest wins 3 sets in a row after dropping the first. And will get a third ACC win of the season here in Chestnut Hill.
Oh, really, really impressive performance by the Demons.